The crystalline caves of Zarian shimmered with an ethereal blue light as Captain Dane Cortez pressed himself against the cold mineral wall. His breathing was controlled, measured a skill honed through countless infiltration missions. The reconnaissance data had been wrong. The Seraphim Empire's outpost wasn't lightly defended. It was a fortress carved into the moon's core. "Cortez to base," he whispered into his comm unit. Static answered him. The ionic storms had severed all communication with the human fleet orbiting beyond the nebula. He was alone, deep in enemy territory, with stolen intelligence about the Empire's new weapon prototypes burning in his memory core. The sound of approaching footsteps echoed through the cavern. Dane's hand found the grip of his plasma rifle, but he knew it was futile. The distinctive hum of energy shields and the rhythmic clank of ceremonial armor told him he was surrounded by the Empire's elite guard. "Human," a voice called out in accented standard. "Your stealth technology is impressive, but our sensors have evolved beyond your primitive understanding." Dane stepped into the open, hands raised but eyes defiant. The speaker was a tall figure in midnight blue armor, her face partially obscured by a helm that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. General Nix Valdris, he realized, the Empress's right hand and the architect of humanity's recent defeats. "I am Captain Dane Cortez of the Terran Federation," he said, his voice steady despite the dozen energy weapons trained on him. "I invoke the laws of war do not apply to spies," Valdris interrupted, circling him slowly. "But you intrigue me, human. You ventured deeper into our domain than any of your kind has dared. Why?" Dane remained silent, studying the alien faces around him. The Seraphim were humanoid, but taller, their skin bearing faint luminescent markings that pulsed with their heartbeat. Their eyes held an otherworldly intelligence that made his skin crawl. "Take him to the Empress," Valdris commanded. "She will want to question this one personally." As energy restraints materialized around his wrists, Dane caught something in. The general's tone, was it anticipation? The guards marched him through winding passages that grew more ornate with each level. Bioluminescent vines crawled along the walls, and the air grew thick with the scent of exotic flowers. They emerged into a vast chamber dominated by a throne of living crystal that seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat. And there, regarding him with eyes like molten silver, sat the most dangerous being in known space. Empress Zara Nightfall rose from her throne, and Dane's breath caught despite himself. She was magnificent and terrible, beauty and menace incarnate. Challenge Empress Zara Nightfall descended from her throne with fluid grace, each step deliberate and predatory. Her ceremonial robes seemed to absorb light, creating an aura of darkness that contrasted sharply with her luminescent skin. Dane forced himself to meet her gaze, though every instinct screamed at him to look away. "So," she said, her voice carrying the weight of absolute authority, "this is the human who dared to infiltrate my inner sanctum." She circled him slowly, her silver eyes cataloging every detail. "You're not what I expected." "What did you expect?" Dane asked, surprising himself with his boldness. A smile played at the corners of her lips. Fear, submission, the usual human responses to imminent death. She paused before him, close enough that he could smell her exotic perfume, something like night-blooming jasmine mixed with ozone. "Instead, I see defiance, curiosity. How refreshing." The court around them watched in tense silence. Dane could feel the weight of their collective gaze, but his attention remained fixed on the Empress. There was something in her expression. He couldn't quite read a hunger that went beyond mere cruelty. "Traditionally," Zara continued, "spies are executed without ceremony. But you've provided me with entertainment I haven't enjoyed in decades." She gestured, and a servant approached carrying an ornate case. "I offer you something no human has ever been granted," the right to single combat. The case opened, revealing a weapon unlike anything Dane had ever seen. The blade seemed alive, its surface rippling with veins of crimson light. The hilt was warm to the touch, and he could swear he felt a pulse beneath his fingers. "This is Soul Reaper," Zara explained, her voice dropping to an intimate whisper. "A living weapon bonded to the wielder's very essence. It will judge your worth as surely as I will." Dane hefted the blade, feeling its weight and balance. It was perfectly crafted, responding to his grip as if it had been made specifically for him. "And if I win? Then you earn what every prisoner dreams of: freedom." She drew her own weapon, a twin to his butt, with veins of blue-white energy. "But if you lose, I die," Dane finished. "Perhaps. Or perhaps you'll discover there are fates more interesting than death." The way she said it made heat pool in his stomach. Despite the mortal danger, the court formed a circle around them, and Dane realized this was more than combat, it was theater. Every movement, every word was being weighed and measured by alien minds. Zara assumed a fighting stance that was both elegant and deadly. "Begin when ready, human. Show me what fire burns in your veins." The revelation steel met steel in a shower of sparks as their blades crashed together. Dane had fought many opponents, but never one who moved like liquid shadow. Zara's attacks flowed seamlessly from one to the next, each strike precisely calculated to test his defenses. "You're holding back," she observed, pressing her advantage with a series of rapid thrusts. "Do you think mercy will save you?" Dane parried desperately, his enhanced reflexes barely keeping pace. "Maybe I'm just getting warmed up." She laughed, a sound like breaking crystal. "Good. I would hate to be disappointed." Their duel carried them across the chamber, around pillars of living stone and through pools of bioluminescent water. With each exchange, Dane began to notice something strange. Her attacks, while skilled, always left him an opening to counter. Her defense, though flawless, seemed to invite his advances. During a brief respite, as they circled each other like wolves, Dane caught something in her expression, a flicker of vulnerability quickly masked. "You're not trying to win," he said suddenly. Zara's step faltered for just an instant. "Careful, human. Overconfidence has ended many promising warriors." But Dane pressed on, pieces of the puzzle falling into place. "This isn't about combat. It's about escape." He lowered his blade slightly. "You're trapped, aren't you? Bound by the same traditions that put you on that throne. You know nothing of my burdens." She hissed, but her voice lacked conviction. "I know the look of a caged animal," Dane replied softly. "I've seen it in mirrors often enough." For a moment, the mask of imperial authority slipped completely. Zara's shoulders sagged, and her grip on her weapon loosened. 500 years, she whispered. 500 years of endless war, endless death, endless solitude. The crown chose me, but I never chose it. Dane felt an unexpected surge of compassion. "Then why continue?" "Because tradition demands it. Because my people expect it. Because ... She looked up at him with eyes that held centuries of loneliness. "Because I've never found anyone strong enough to break the cycle." The admission hung between them like a bridge across an impossible chasm. Dane realized that this wasn't just about his freedom. It was about hers as well. "What if I refuse to play by your rules?" he asked. "Then you would be the first," she said, stepping closer. "But also the last. My court would never accept such defiance." Around them, the alien nobles watched with growing anticipation, expecting blood and spectacle. But Dane saw only a woman who had forgotten what it meant to choose her own path. "Sometimes," he said, "the strongest act is surrender." The choice the chamber fell silent, except for the distant hum of the fortress's energy systems. Dane could feel the weight of history pressing down on them, Centuries of tradition and expectation crystallized in this single moment. Surrender? Zara's voice carried a note of something he couldn't quite identify. Hope? Fear? You would throw away your only chance at freedom? Would I? Dane asked, stepping closer. Or would I be helping us both find a different kind of freedom? She raised her blade, but the movement lacked conviction. You don't understand what you're asking. My people ... They respect only strength. Without it, I am nothing. That's where. You're wrong. Dane reached out slowly, his fingers brushing against her weapon hand. Strength isn't about domination. It's about having the courage to be vulnerable. The touch seemed to electrify her. Zara's breath caught, and for a moment, the fearsome empress vanished, replaced by a woman who had forgotten what gentle contact felt like. I could kill you right now, she whispered, though her blade trembled in her grasp. Yes, Dane agreed. But you won't, because you're tired of killing, tired of being alone, tired of pretending that power equals happiness. Their faces were inches apart now, and he could see the conflict raging in her silver eyes. The court around them grew restless, murmuring in their alien tongue, but neither combatant seemed to. Notice. If I show weakness, Zara said, they'll destroy me. And you along with me. Then we'll face that together, Dane replied, his voice steady despite the magnitude of what he was proposing. But first, we need to trust each other. With deliberate slowness, he set his weapon on the ground. The act sent ripples of shock through the assembled nobles, but Dane kept his eyes fixed on Zara's face. Your move, he said simply. For a long moment, she stared at him as if he were some impossible creature from another dimension. Then, with a sound that was half sob, half laugh, she dropped her own blade. The weapon clattered against the stone floor, and Zara swayed as if the effort had drained her completely. Without thinking, Dane caught her, pulling her against his chest. She fit perfectly in his arms, her head resting against his shoulder. What happens now? She whispered against his neck. Now, Dane said, stroking her hair, we figure out how to rewrite the rules. The court erupted in chaos around them, but for this moment, they were an island of calm in the storm. Two souls who had found each other across the vast darkness of space, uniting in their desire for something better than the endless cycle of violence. The Alliance the Throne Room descended into chaos as alien nobles shouted in their native tongue, some demanding immediate execution, others calling for traditional combat protocols. General Valdris stepped forward, her hand on her weapon, torn. Between duty and growing respect for the human who had done the impossible. Silence! Zara's voice cut through the uproar like a blade. She had straightened in Dane's arms, and though she remained close to him, the imperial authority was returning to her bearing. I am still your empress, and I will not be questioned. By my own court. But your majesty, protested Lord Kithara, an elderly noble with intricate scarification covering his pale skin. The human has violated the sacred laws of combat. He must be destroyed. The human, Zara said, her voice carrying a new note of steel, has shown me something I had forgotten existed. Courage without violence. Strength without domination. She looked at Dane, and he saw the decision crystallizing. In her eyes, I declare him victorious. The court erupted again, but Zara raised her hand for silence. Furthermore, I name him my equal partner in forging a new path forward. The endless war between our peoples has cost us both too much. It ends now. General Valdris stepped forward, her expression troubled. Your Majesty, with respect, the military. Councils will never accept. The military councils serve at my pleasure, Zara interrupted, as do all of you. Captain Cortez has shown me that there are alternatives to the cycle of violence that has consumed us for generations. Dane felt the weight of her decision and the trust she was placing in him. Your Majesty, he said formally, though his hand remained on her arm. I accept your partnership, but this won't be easy. My own people will be just as resistant to peace as yours. Then we'll convince them together, Zara replied, starting with immediate prisoner exchanges and the establishment of neutral zones for diplomatic contact. Lord Kithara stepped forward, his expression dark. This is madness. The humans are inferior, untrustworthy. They will use any peace as an opportunity to prepare for war. Some will, Dane acknowledged, just as some of your people will resist change. But we have to start somewhere. Zara moved to her throne, but instead of sitting, she gestured for Dane to stand beside her. I have ruled alone for 5 centuries, she announced to the court. I have made decisions in isolation, carried burdens without counsel. No more. Captain Cortez will serve as my advisor and partner in all matters of state. The implications sent shockwaves through the assembled nobles. A human in the inner circle of the Seraphim Empire was unprecedented, revolutionary, and terrifying. Together, Zara continued, her hand finding Dane's, we will build something new. Not human dominance or Seraphim superiority, but true partnership between equals. As the court slowly dispersed, still murmuring in shock and discontent, Dane and Zara stood together facing an uncertain future. The path ahead would be fraught with danger, betrayal, and the weight of centuries of hatred. But for the first time, in either of their lives, they wouldn't walk it alone. Think it will work? Dane asked quietly. It has to, Zara replied, squeezing his hand. We've both sacrificed too much for it to fail now.